Hi everyone, welcome to Monica's Singapore Kitchen. In this video, I will be showing you how to cook Penang Hor Fun, which is Penang's staple street food. It is made of slithery broad rice noodles, slices of meat and seafood bathed in a simmering silky gravy. I will be showing you how to make three versions of Penang Hor Fun. The first version is the pork and prawn gravy Hor Fun. The second version is the chicken and crab stick gravy Hor Fun for people who do not eat pork or people who are allergic to prawns. The third version is the stir-fry dry Hor Fun without gravy. All the three versions will be cooked to perfection with flavors that perk you and your taste buds till the last mouthful. So come along with me to see how the three versions of Penang Hor Fun are prepared. First, we need to prepare all the ingredients, starting with the eggs. I've got 6 eggs here. Then we have got the sawi or the mustard green. I just use the leaves as this part of the sawi is softer. Here we have got the pork. I use pork tenderloin and I cut it into thin pieces, bite-sized thin pieces. Then we have got chicken breast, also cut into thin pieces like so. Like that. About 300 grams each. Then we have got 12 prawns. I have removed the heads, let the tail remain, and also I've cut the back to remove the intestines. This is crab stick. I use 100 grams of it, cut into half at an angle. So then this is the fish cake, also cut into thin slices. And we have got 10 cloves of minced garlic. And all this will be used in the three versions with different combinations. Now we move on to our Hor Fun noodles. So here I've got 1.5 kg of Hor Fun noodles. This is the broader version of the rice noodles. In Penang, we call this broader version Hor Fun, while the thinner strip version is called Kway Teow. So that is for cooking Kway Teow soup. When I bought these, they come in 500 gram packets. It is best to break these flat noodles off by peeling the layers. You do not want to be struggling to separate the layers when you are frying them. Try to separate them gently as they are pretty brittle. So okay, our Hor Fun is ready. Then move on to marinate the prawns. For this, we'll need half teaspoon of salt and half teaspoon of pepper. So mix all these ingredients thoroughly, and we want to marinate this for about, I would say, 20 minutes. And while that is marinating, let's move on to marinate our pork using 1 tablespoon of soya sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame seed oil, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So mix all these ingredients thoroughly as well, and we want to marinate this for also around about 20 minutes. Okay, so let's put this aside and move on to marinating our chicken. So we are going to use the same marinade as the marinade for our pork, which is 1 tablespoon of soya sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame seed oil, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Mix all these ingredients thoroughly. So marinate this for 20 minutes. Let's put this aside. So we are going to make our sauce now. First, we make the sauce for our noodles, which comprises of 2 tablespoons of dark soya sauce, 4 tablespoons of light soya sauce, and 6 tablespoons of water. Mix all these ingredients well. So as for the gravy, we need this for the gravy for the two versions, the gravy version. So we need to make the sauce, which comprises of 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 4 tablespoons of light soya sauce, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of chicken powder, and 5 cups of water. So we are going to mix all these ingredients thoroughly and then put this aside. the cornstarch slurry. So we are going to prepare this as well, which consists of 4 tablespoons of corn flour, 6 tablespoons of water. So we need to mix these 2 ingredients thoroughly because the corn flour tends to settle at the bottom, leaving a layer of water on top. So we need to stir it now and also stir it again just before we use it. Okay, let's cook version 1, which is the prawn and pork gravy hor fun. This version consists of delightful smoky flavored noodles cooked with slices of pork and plum prawns. Beaten eggs are added to thicken the gravy for a smooth finish. So let's cook this. So heat up 2 tablespoons of oil until it is smoking. I use a stainless steel wok, which will impart a wok hei, meaning the wok's breath, to my stir-fried noodles. As a result of this, my noodles will be filled with strong, smoky goodness. So once it is smoking hot like this, put in 500 grams of the rice noodles. Okay, stir-fry this. So the plan is to stir fry it for about 3 to 4 minutes until it's slightly charred and you could sort of detect an smoky aroma. The secret to a good plate of Penang hor fun lies in the ability to impart the wok hei to our noodles. So very high heat, thin stainless steel wok will do the job at home, especially when you do this at home. So 3 tablespoons of our noodle sauce, add them in. So stir fry until the noodles turn from brittle to soft and slithery. So let it settle and fry for about a minute. So after a minute, then only we will toss it. So when we toss it, we can see that the noodles are turning, some parts of it is getting charred, and this is what we want. Okay, so let it settle for about a minute. And then we'll toss it. Now we are talking. So after 4 minutes, we can see that the noodles are slightly charred and you can also detect a hint of smoky aroma. So this is a time for us to take the noodles out, pour it onto a plate and move on to the next stage where we will cook the gravy to top our noodles. So heat up 1 tablespoon of oil. And then we are going to stir fry 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. So stir fry it until it is almost golden brown. So the pan is very hot at this moment, so we got to stir fry it continuously. Then after this, we shall pour in half of our gravy sauce. The other half will be for version 2. So we'll reserve the other half for version 2. So pour it in, half of it, and the plan is to let it boil before we add the other ingredients. Can see that it is slightly boiling now. So this is a time for us to add the other ingredients, namely our pork, our pork slices. All of it goes in because this is the pork version. So then the other ingredients will be our prawns. You cannot add about 6 prawns or 8 prawns depending on how many prawns you prefer. So I added about 6 to 8 prawns, I think. Okay, so stir it. And then we'll add in our fish cake and also our sawi leaves. So at this point, we need to bring the gravy to a boil. It takes about a minute or so. So once it's boiled, the meat would have been cooked and also the prawns would have been cooked. Something like this, yeah? You can see that it is all almost cooked. Then we'll thicken the gravy by pouring 3 to 4 tablespoons of cornstarch slurry. So remember to stir the cornstarch slurry first before we pour it into the wok. Okay, so bring it to boil again. Takes about 30 seconds or so. Then after this, we are going to add an egg to thicken the gravy for a smooth finish. So wait for about a few seconds before we stir it. Then we'll drip the Hua Tiao Chiu, which is the wine, Chinese wine, down the side of the hot wok to let the wine sizzle so that it will reduce and release a subtle fragrance. So, we are almost there. So now we are going to pour our nice, delicious gravy onto our silky noodles. So we will just drench this thick, fragrant gravy over the warm noodles. We want the hor fun to be coated with smooth, runny egg gravy. We can still see the egg yolk, right? And then the streaks of egg white on top of the noodles. This gooey gravy complements the abundance of pork, prawns, and noodles. So we want to serve it piping hot with cut red chilies or pickled green chilies. So this is the type of pickle or condiment that we want to, that goes very well with our hor fun, yeah, especially our silky gravy hor fun. So, okay, this is our version 1 hor fun, the pork and prawn gravy hor fun. Let's move on to version 2, which is the chicken crab stick gravy hor fun for people who do not like to eat pork or cannot eat pork, and for people who are allergic to prawns. So let's do a substitute over here. So the noodles are cooked in the same way as version 1, yeah? Cook it until it's slightly charred and there's a hint of smoky aroma. So you can see the charred bits of the hor fun. Then pour it onto a plate. So it's exactly the same as version 1. So the only difference is in the preparation of the sauce. So here we have 1 tablespoon of oil, 2 teaspoons of minced garlic added in when the oil is hot. Stir fry until it's almost golden brown. Then we'll add the rest of the gravy, the other half. Okay, bring the gravy to a boil. So once the gravy is boiling, so we add the crab sticks, the chicken, the fish cake, and the sawi leaves. So all of these are tossed into the gravy. Then we'll bring the gravy to boil as previously. Okay, now that it is boiling, we are going to thicken the gravy with 3 to 4 tablespoons of cornstarch slurry. So you adjust the amount of cornstarch slurry according to the consistency of the gravy that you want. I normally like this consistency. Okay, and then drizzle 2 lightly beaten eggs. So we want a smooth, velvety finish to our sauce. So wait for about 30 seconds for the egg to cook. In the meantime, let's just drizzle the Hua Tiao Chiu to the hot side of the pan, thus releasing a nice, fragrant, fruity aroma. Okay, so it looks like it is nice and cooked. So this is especially for people who are not pork lovers or cannot eat pork and allergic to prawns. So all you have to do is to pour the gravy over the velvety smooth rice noodles. Since the noodles is soft and chewy, it can easily soak up the flavors of the sauce and other ingredients. So serve this piping hot with green pickled chilies and also cut red chilies with soya sauce. So here you go, our chicken and crab stick gravy hor fun. Now let's move on to our last version, which is version 3, slightly different from the first two versions. This is a dry version. So what we want to do is to stir fry it without any gravy. Okay, so we will heat up 2 tablespoons of oil. So when it's smoking hot, we are going to add in our 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. Stir fry until it's almost golden brown. Then pour the egg at the beginning now, yeah? So for the other two versions, you pour at the end, but for this dry version, you pour it and cook it at the beginning. So toss it around for a minute. Then we will add our chicken slices, our fish cake, and our prawns, yeah, about 4 to 6 prawns, yeah, whatever number of prawns that's remaining. Okay, so we are going to stir fry until our chicken, fish cake, and prawns are thoroughly cooked. Okay, if it is a bit dry, just drizzle about 1 tablespoon of oil here around the sides of the pan. So I'm cooking all these over very high heat, as high as my stove fire can go, which is not much, but it is the best that my stove can offer. Okay, so at this point, we are going to add our hor fun, the last batch of hor fun, which is 500 grams. So pour this in, then add the sawi leaves. I add it last because I want my sawi leaves to maintain its emerald green color in my noodles. Then pour in about 4 tablespoons of noodle sauce. And also 1 teaspoon of chicken powder. So mix all these ingredients thoroughly. Make sure that the noodles are turned from, brittle to soft and velvety. Okay, let it stand for a while and then toss it. So after a few minutes, it will look something like this. This is a time when you can start smelling all the ingredients, the aroma, and it smells so good. So the last thing is to drizzle 1 tablespoon of Hua Tiao which is the Chinese wine, a type of Chinese wine, on the hot side of the pan. Yeah, so we want it to, sizzle and then release the fragrant aroma to our food. So we can plate this. So I normally pour this hot noodle over banana leaves. The banana leaves impart an inherent pleasant fruity aroma to our hot noodles. So what I normally do is to serve it piping hot with pickled green chilies or cut red chilies in soya sauce or with my favorite sambal. So also drizzle a or tablespoon of fried crispy onions. So it will be very, very aromatic. Then the two versions, the dry and the two wet versions, are all delicious. They are so quick and easy to prepare and will satisfy your cravings. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, happy cooking!